Light goes on. Hey guys, I'm Trixie, aka the Thoughtful Beast. Welcome to my live show. Today I'm here with Darren TekForce Columbus, and he is here to talk about being a child of the 80s, which is going to be super fun. Before we get down to that, Darren, would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself?
About, yes, I will tell about myself because I am Canadian, which I actually am not. What's up? This is TekForce, and I am here in the Casa de la TekForce right now. So to tell you a little bit about myself, I am a self-proclaimed child of the 80s. As you can see behind me, there's a poster of Tron right there. Now, Tron is one of my favorite movies, and that kind of gives you like a basis of what I was raised on. I was raised on hip hop, of course, and I was raised on, gosh, 80s movies like I said, Tron, The Last Starfighter, Star Wars, G.I. Joe, Transformers. I was raised on all these things, and they helped to build and make who I am into the person that I am today. Let me leave this up real quick. Wow, it was quick. So yeah, I grew up on like the Fat Boys, and I grew up on LL Cool J. I grew up on Run DMC, and they kind of formed a basis of me loving hip hop. And then as I got a little bit older, I started listening to groups like A Tribe Called Quest and Gang Starr and whatnot. And that kind of formed more of who I was. And then watching shows like Robotech and watching, again, Transformer and G.I. Joe and various anime and so many different shows formed me into this weird person that I am in my 40s that I don't apologize for being. And then eventually, so eventually I started rapping, and there you go.
Yay! So I'm glad that you're here today.
Yes.
I'm very excited.
Glad to be here. Yes, ma'am.
Darren and I have already talked before because that's what I do with people before we go on. So it's not awkward, and we're like, hey.
Right. So we don't look weird. Like, so am I supposed to talk? I don't know what to do with my hands.
And I'm right like, now. Please don't do that. You know what I mean? Just like super awkward. But he's a very funny guy. The love of sci-fi is something that we share. We talked about Star Trek.
Yes, right. About Star Trek, right?
And I said Star Trek.
Right, because you started talking about Star Wars, and I think you meant Star. It was something that was reversed.
Oh no, we were talking about the movies. We were talking about the movies, and because I was confusing First Contact with Generations.
Right. However, it was cool though, because we had that discussion, and they're both good movies in their own right. So yeah, cool.
Oh, and I totally forgot to tell you this. Wait, no, did I go over this? There are comments to the side if you want to see them. They're under comments, not private chat.
Oh.
So if you'd like to look at them, they are there.
Thank you, Cheryl. Cheryl, my friend Cheryl just left a comment. Yes. Says an amazing person, amazing performer, mad proud to know him. Girl, mucho amore to you, girl. Thank you.
So you are a child of the 80s. You gave us a lot of bit of background right then, which is really great. And it all culminates to the person you are today and your personality, which is really great, which is really fun. Before we dive to other things and more of you being on the 80s, I know you have a new single out, which is called
Unify, U.N.I.F.Y. That's Unify.
But I'm gonna put. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna put the link in the chat for everyone to go check out if you want to check out now.
Please do.
It's a great song, and so let's talk about why did you create this song, Mr. TekForce Columbus?
My God. I kind of love that intro. We should do it every time we meet. Just hello, how are you, TekForce? Let's do that voice. So all jokes aside, we live in a world right now that is changing. Now, with the Black Lives Matter movement and the murders of, of Breonna Taylor and so many others, there had to be a call to action as far as change goes. I thought about when I made Unify, I'd been to two of the protests that was here in Texas where I live. And when you are around so many different kinds of people and you are inspired to make change happen on a grand scale, you got a choice to make. Now, some people are artists and they do artwork and they make something that's a portrait that shows change. Some people want to go post on social media. Some people are having conversations with family members that are uncomfortable but need to be had. And I thought to myself, well, I'm an MC. I've been given a talent. What can I do to make my change happen? And I started writing Unify before I even went to the first protest. And then after I went to the first one and went to the second one, I finished the song. And I said, I want something that people can play and it gets them amped and it makes them understand. First of all, I want to talk about my pain about being Black in America and Black my whole life in this world that thinks I'm good enough when I'm doing music or thinks I'm good enough when I'm being funny, that thinks I'm good enough when I'm not causing problems, but not good enough to just be alive, to just not be. And that's something that myself and other people of color feel. Black people, Black men in general have been killed so much, man, it's commonplace. Like when we talk about being killed, it's been desensitized to where, oh, it's another one. Well, it is what it was. It was until this year. So now this year, with everything that's happened, it's no longer where injustices can happen on a racial level and you won't be called out on it. So the protests are the movement to change it that needed to happen a long time ago. And the last time we moved like that was the 60s. And it's time now. So when I wrote Unify, again, I wanted something, and it was so crazy about Unify. The beat to Unify, I made like, I think I made it 5 years ago, right?
Oh.
It's an old beat. Like I made it for a different project and that never happened. And I was going through beats because I produced my own tracks too. And I somehow I was going through, I said, I got these lyrics. What's the beat to go with it? Oh, that's it. That's the one. Because I wanted something that was passionate and something that got people moving when they heard the track. And it just ended up working. So I got a good response to it. And the people in the comments, obviously, you guys, you're too biased. Get out of here. There's Chase. What's up, Chase? What's up, Halo? What's up? So shout out to Show Up, shout out to Chase. Y'all are too biased. Y'all know me, man. Get out of here. Move.
Get out. It's like your opinions don't matter.
Opinions don't matter. They do matter. Keep talking.
It's a great song. Again, I put the link there, and then I'll just keep periodically putting that link there because that's helpful. It's a great song, and like when you said call to action, it's a very, because the thing that's powerful about call to actions, right, is that they're clear, which is yours is very clear. It's the title of the song, Unify, U.N.I.F.Y. And it's such like a big song in a great way, because it feels like you're in a crowd. You know what I mean? It feels like we're all together and we're going somewhere, like we're marching forward towards progress. We're going somewhere. It feels really strong. Like, you know what I mean? Like it has that, or at least for me, it's weird because it's like your song. Don't you agree with what I think about your song?
I love that. You know what it means. You take it to heart. So
But
that's
like,
the intended thing. Yeah.
yeah, like it feels like we're doing this, right? Like, and like, I mean, yes, it's called Unify and stuff like that, but like that really is what the
Right.
whole song is about. Like, let's come
Yeah.
together, let's make change. You
That's right.
mentioned your daughter, like, right, and hopefully that we can make that change like way sooner than later, especially
Yeah.
because I feel like, you know, a lot of us feel like this change should have already happened, or
Should
like
have.
something that I talk about with my friends a lot, including Adrian, who just joined, like growing up, like through history and stuff like that, like learning history in America and stuff, you think that the change did happen as a
Right.
child. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like when they talk about civil rights movement, when they talk about slavery and stuff like that, they talk about it like it was a very long time ago. And like we're in a different place now, right? There's no racism. I remember
Yeah.
like in the 90s, like everything being like very like, you know, like diversity, like all the cartoons in different colors holding hands and stuff like that.
Right.
You know, like that's what I was taught. That's what I remember seeing. And then now being an adult and being like, oh, we were hella never there. And that's sad. Like that's
It
really
is.
sad. And again, like I know we all like want better, which like creates like another like layer, right? Of us unifying.
Yeah.
Like we're unifying for Black people, we're unifying for a better tomorrow for everyone, like for our children. Like when you mentioned your daughter, I thought that was just really sweet. And I was just like,
yeah.
No.
Well, you know why I mentioned her because before I wrote that song, and we had this talk about what was going on. I think she saw me. I think she saw me like down while I was doing my job from home. She saw me down and she said, "Dad, are you sad?" And I said, "Well, I'm kind of sad." She said, "Is it because of what's happening in America to Black men?" And I thought it was a very poignant thing for my 10-year-old daughter to say that she knew that her dad was sad because of how I felt. She said, "I'm scared, Dad. I'm scared for you." And I didn't cry in front of my daughter, but I swear when she wasn't around, I did. I cried, and it was rough. It was hard, you know, because whenever you see us, you know, whenever I see my brothers and sisters murdered, you know, it's hard, man. It ain't, you know, I want the change to happen because I want my kids to grow up in a world where they don't have to worry about that. And it's so far-sighted for me. But I do know that the change is happening in people, whether the news wants to tell you or not. And they stopped showing any protesting, but the protesting is still going on.
Mm-hmm.
It's still happening, and people are still doing it, and they're still being a part of something that's bigger than them. And yes, there's the coronavirus. Yes, you can catch it, but that doesn't stop injustices. That means stay away from that person, wear your mask, and still fight for what you got to fight for. I've seen it. I've done it. You know, like, and I got to be sparing with where I post on social media. Like I was so hard for a minute, and I still post about Black Lives Matter, but I'm more of action. I mean, I put out a song talking about it. I didn't just let me post something every now and then. I got something that's embedded in life right now. So 20 years from now, if I'm not here, you can go back and listen to what I did and know that I tried to help change in my way. And that's when we leave this earth, all we have is what we were to other people. All we have is the impact that we made on other people and the changes we tried to make in the world. So, because there's a lot of people that's sitting around letting the world pass them by, and they don't want to be part of nothing. They just want to keep working and all that. But let me tell you something. The world has and always will change without you. You can either was a change, a step to the side. You know, I say it in my song.
Yeah.
And it's important that my kid, it's important that I don't have any more conversations about with my son about having to go out and be a certain way around the police that white kids don't have to be. They don't have to yes sir and no sir. I've seen white kids talk real crazy to cops, you know, saying all types of whatever, and they just, hey, Bill, Kel, you know, they're all like this. But if it's a black kid do it or myself, I got to be ultimately respectful, and that doesn't even mean that I might not be in trouble. And I say this, I've never been mistreated by law enforcement. I haven't been beat on the ground. I haven't had any situations where I thought, well, I always thought that either my life or my freedom were in danger. But I've had ingrained into me to be a certain way, just like other black men. And our marches are for us to create a new world to where because of my color of the skin, you don't need to treat me a different way. You don't need to act a different way with me because I'm a person like you. And you know, so anyway, I'm long-winded in my.
No, it's good. Like, please talk. You are here to talk. You know,
Right.
we're here to like
Right.
listen to you. I'm here to listen to you.
Yeah.
And you said a lot of good stuff. Like what you said, like, you know, the world keeps changing whether or not you do something. And unfortunately, and this is a lot like a conversation I have with a lot of people, especially people who like, you know, artists, content creators, influencers, whatever. When you don't say something, when that comes to like, I feel like a lot of people want to stay neutral, but it's like when it comes to injustice and the killing of people, like if you don't say anything, that's on the side of the people who are killing.
Right.
Like even if you don't mean to be, and I feel like, you know, I have a lot of respect for you for doing something and making a song because that's what you have. You know, you're offering what you have, like you said, like, right? What happens in the end, what matters is like what you did for people, like what you did, like as a person, like giving of yourself. Like, did you give of yourself? Did you do the best you can? You know, no one's going to be perfect, but did you actually try? Because like, that's the thing. Did you actually try? Because it does feel time that people aren't like that silence.
Right.
Even when people go, oh, well, I'm gonna back away. You know, like that's a lot of thing that like a lot of people with influence have said, like, I'm just gonna step away from the mic and let other people talk. And I'm like, but wait. Yes, but no. Like you can be like, hey, listen to these people. Let me point you to some great you know, black artists, black YouTubers, like people with like great accounts. Like, let me point you to them. But like, if you have a huge following and then you decide to say nothing about Black Lives Matter, like that's hurtful.
It's
like,
hurtful. It speaks louder than your silence.
Yeah.
Like, and that's why you're important. So I had to talk when my daughter saw the flyer. She said, "Who's that?" Of course, as a 10-year-old would, "Who's that? What are you doing? What's that, Daddy? What's this and that?" So I told her, I said, "Well, this is Trixie. It's my friend. She does podcasts to talk to people about mental illness and awareness, and she wants to help people of color talk about injustices and things that are help. So she does a great thing." And she's like, "Oh, that's really nice." You said she's really pretty. And I said, "Thank you, baby. I'll tell her you said that." And I thought it was cool because, like, I don't know anybody that's just pushing helping people that have mental health problems. Are not even this awareness, and it's not an evil thing. It is a thing that people have, and how we deal with it determines who we are. I know I'm subject to depression myself, probably more times than people will ever know. But to be able to have a forum to help people, to give them the information they need, what you do is the same thing I do. We're no different.
That's why we're friends.
That's why we're friends.
It's true.
Yes.
Like when you were saying that, like in giving all that you have, like in, at the end of your life, it reminded me of this quote, my friend Lorelei. It's a religious, I don't know if it's technically a religious quote. It's not like a psalm or anything. It's not like a quote from the Bible, but it was like basically like at the end of life, like I want to say to God, like I gave everything that I had, I possibly had. And like I always like think about that a lot. Like no matter where I am in my fluctuation of spirituality and like religion, wherever I am in that space, like that's something that has always been really important to me. It's just like I want to give all that I can that you gave to me, like all the different talents, all the different privileges, all the different things. Like I want to be able to be like at the end of my life, I'm like, yeah, I did the best I could with it. Like, very possibly. And like, and it's great. And it's so, like your song, like it's so powerful. Like,
thank you.
And it's cool. Like when you were talking about, like later on in the future, like people can look back in the history and be like, dude, people cared. Like people made music. Like people made music. Like it is a stamp of the time. And it's such a beautiful song because it is very about like everyone coming together. It's such like, I don't want to say like it is a positive song, but like that's not like, yeah, it's positive, but like it's like
angry.
Maybe more like it, yeah, angry, like passionate. Like it's very passionate. Like that's what it feels like.
Yeah,
it's very passionate because it's not just like, oh, let's be together, kumbaya. Like all different shit around. Like it's not that. It's very like there are things happening, everybody. Like we need to actually come together. Like it's a real call to action. Like if we don't come together and unify, there are going to be consequences to that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that was a point too, because when I talked, I was angry. I had to think about my experiences. I didn't want to make this song a kumbaya song. I wanted to be like, I see us coming together, but this is why I'm mad. This is why I'm mad for my kids. This is why I'm mad for my grandparents and my great grandparents and so many generations. Like I don't know my history. I don't know specifically where my genealogy started. And it ain't just me. There's millions of Black Americans like that don't know their genealogy. We don't know where we started besides slavery. And I don't think we bother to look because that's terrifying. It's terrifying to know that your history is slavery. It ain't, my parents grew up in Ireland, or well, we're actually from the south of France. I can't say that shit, and excuse my French, but I like that's seriously, I think that's why I've been reluctant to look. But when I made that song, I thought about it. I said, look, I can't be so caught up in our past that I can't look for our past.
Yeah.
It wasn't our fault that our past was our past. However, I should go find out because maybe I'll find something I don't know. But that song, when I wrote it, like it's important to me. It makes me know that I did something. Yeah. So if I don't do anything else, I did my thing. And hey, shout out to you guys in the chat again. Y'all posting the links to the song.
They're doing the links for me. Hey,
look, they're doing. This is my team now. It's my squad. Showing up. Hey, Halo,
Thank
Cheryl.
You, I'm just listening, Chase, and I'm like,
right. I'm up here just running my mouth. And you know what? In 1974, I'm sounding old as hell. So stop me with look at my cane. Look here, whippersnappers. You don't know about these Negro spirituals. Let me see something for you.
I always do that with my students. I always go, I know that I'm not the same age as you. And so, like, but you can still
Right.
try to raise your leg up there.
Right.
You're not. Your back is fine. Your back is fine. I totally. See, we are friends. This was meant to be, Chase. Good job.
Yes, Chase. Well, shout out to Chase, but without Chase, we wouldn't even connected. And we had a great interview the week before. You and I talked. Me and him talked, and with Chase, we talk and we talk and we talk, and we forget it's a podcast, and it happens every single time. So. Yes.
That's good though. That's good. Like that means that the conversation is really genuine. I totally was gonna say ours. Something. It is, but now I'm like, crap, I forgot what I wanted to say because we just started talking like old people. Oh, okay, I found it.
What'd you find?
Like when you said you're angry, right? Yes. And I think we might have talked about this when we talked the first time, but like that's what's so beautiful. Like I love that you freaking said that because people look at anger, especially like when they see like a black man and he's angry, you use the word angry and like black man and then people get triggered. But the thing is like anger is not inherently bad. Like anger was your motivation to make something beautiful, to unify everyone. And people don't realize that. Like even in general, like everyone, like anger is bad and anger like, ooh, bad emotions and stuff. But it's just like anger is like a part of passion. Like those things can be kind of the same. And again, like what you can use your anger as motivation to do something good. Like TekForce did a great thing with his anger, and like that's the beautiful thing, and that's why like everything you're feeling, your reaction to what's been happening to Black people, like it's all validated, and it's like and it needs to be said. And so I'm really glad that you pointed it out, because again, like anger is such like a taboo thing, especially when you're not white. Then it becomes like it's a taboo thing unless you're a white man. like otherwise, like being angry is just like the worst thing that you could be, which is like dumb.
It's stupid, right? Like we are all human and our emotions are handled differently, but white people are so scared of the Black emotions and how because we just don't. There isn't a way to be angry. You're angry the way that you are, right? There's no textbook. Oh, when you're angry, you have to, just kind of don't raise your voice, but keep it monotone. And there's no handbook for angry shit. Change didn't get started by people saying, it started with people just saying, hey, it'd be nice if you weren't so racist. It'd be cool if you just didn't, try to, I don't know, make us slaves and just try to keep segregation going. Is that cool? All right, thanks. Didn't work. They said that shit so many times and nobody listened. And then eventually the change happened when people started marching. And the white people that were seeing it was like, this shit is not right. We need a march too. And a lot of people don't talk about, but if you look at some of those pictures, there's white people who are still alive today. They were marching in the civil rights movement. And they were like, this shit is wrong. And no, that doesn't mean that they married anybody, Black or whatever like that. But what it meant was that it doesn't really matter. Like when you see an injustice, you're supposed to march for the shit. Like I saw so many LGBTQ members out there that were supporting the movement, that were white, that were out there strong, supporting the movement. And shout out to them too, because I don't fit the description, but I understand the pain. I understand what they go through. I understand that they are discriminated against. And I understand that there's a movement, and the movement has to go across all boundaries.
It does.
It has to. So, and you see the change happening with the Supreme Court, and you see the change happening with certain things. But if you don't raise your voice, if you don't say nothing, it won't happen. It won't. Like I'm even sitting here right now, I'm glad I'm having this conversation with you, because let me back up. Yeah, I like that. That's good. Reverse. So TekForce was born in.
I'm just joining you. This is what we're doing now.
This is it.
I'm about it.
So I was a child of the 80s, born in the 70s.
That's what we're talking about today.
We're talking about, this is like you need to make a GIF out of this right here. This is magic. You've never had an interview like this at all.
No, I haven't, but I'm down. It's fine. I like it.
Right. So, anyway, my music is nerdy. Like when I started rapping, this was, God, 2007, 2006, maybe.
I just graduated high school.
Really?
2006? Yeah.
I was a dad. I was deep in that adult life when you graduated. So trust me. I love video games and anime. Grew up on it, especially the 90s anime. I was huge on. So, okay, let me run back even further. So in the 80s, I was a kid that rode a Huffy STIGMA, which was my favorite bike. And go look it up. It's really plastic and gray and very 80s. And I used to come home and watch shows. Like there's a show called Small Wonder that used to come on. And it was about an android robot named Vicky. And it was really terrible. Go look it up. Like
I get what you're talking about.
In the comments, they'll mention that because I know some of these people have watched this show. But I watch shows like Jim, and I watch shows like Jason the Will Warriors, and there's so many 80s things that I watch, but what they built was a template of somebody who was deep in that. Now, the problem with growing up with that is that when you're Black in the 80s, they want you to be a certain way. So negative stereotypes were all throughout TV shows. So there was a Black main character, but he was always like a caricature, kind of, in a way. He's like, yeah, man, we got to go here and do this, get that done, and that's what's going to happen. And a lot of those shows were set up that way to where we couldn't be multidimensional, unfortunately. So there were some strong characters, but they were all in the same vein. And they were always sidekicks to the white male supporting character, right? In the A-Team with Mr. T, he was on the team, but he wasn't never really as seriously taken. Like he was the muscle, but he wasn't the intelligence of the team.
Yes, because
right?
when I think of him, I'm like, I pity the fool. Like I think of like big, strong guy who just says that.
Right. So in reality, Mr. T was really intelligent guy, a good businessman, a great person. There were so many dimensions to it. Go look him up. He's a fantastic person. Has done a lot more than the main stars of the show have done. And he's had longevity throughout these years, but you won't see that. Those are the people I grew up on. And what it created was me looking up to white male protagonists. Tron is my favorite movie. The star of it is a white male protagonist. Or 2 or 3 right now. And it's hard to, like, you look up, but there was only one Black person in Tron. And he was a security guard. He wasn't a character. He didn't work in the software center where all that shit took place in the 80s. He was a security guard that had one line in a damn movie. And when I look back at that shit, it's like, what did I really look up to in my 40s? I'm like, what did I look up to? In sci-fi, we didn't have it. Now, as I kind of went through my time, in the 90s, things started changing a bit. And like right now, kids got so many people of color, Black characters and anime and sci-fi, stuff to look up to that we never had. I told my daughter, yes, I said, you don't even know how lucky you got it. We were lucky to get a Black friend in a cartoon, let alone a whole damn series about them. So things are changing. It's just, so I'm giving my perspective, like from the shows I grew up on, not taking anything from the shows because the shows are great, but I would have loved to see somebody that looked like me, that was amazing, somebody I could look up to. So anyway.
And I mean, like, we talked about this before, like, that's why I liked sci-fi, because growing up, that's the only place that there were other people of color on the regular. Like, that's it, everybody. It's going to be sci-fi. Because, to make this world where we went off of other worlds, they have to make it look like humans got along, which meant you automatically have to have different races because you're going to have aliens, and it can't be like white people and aliens because that'd be weird. That'd be super weird. Like, white people and purple people. That's it.
Right. Yes. Right.
But even then, like, it's better now. But even then, like, when you were saying that, I was thinking about, like, what did I watch? Like, this is more like fantasy stuff, but still kind of somewhat the same alley. Like Buffy the Vampire Slayer is one of my favorite shows ever. I love that show, and that is one of the most feminist shows of my entire life. Like, I love it forever. But it's like, everyone's white though. Like, and so it's just like, a lot of, just like you, a lot of the people I looked up to when I was young were white, but it's just because every protagonist was white. And like thinking of like Voyager, right? Like, that's the first Star Trek series I watched because that's how old I was. Like, Star Trek came out and I was like old enough to like it. And Ensign Kim? Like, I'm gonna like wanna be Ensign Kim? Like, sorry, Harry. Like, you are, like, all you are is that, like, I'm young, naive Ensign Kim. Like, no, I'm not gonna look up to you for being young and naive. That's weird. Like, you're gonna look up to Janeway. Like, duh.
You better believe it.
Other people. Like,
right. Yeah. No, I get it. It's so essentially Star Trek got it so right so early. Because in the 60s it featured a Black female lead character.
On the bridge.
On the bridge. So, just the fact that happened alone set the change, and it set the tone for how the world should be. Because, like, in the future, you think in the future we got past racism, right? We got past this shit, and
we got past capitalism. That's my favorite.
That we did, right? Because there's no currency.
No, you just get to do what you want to do, and if you want to be in Starfleet, you just have to pass the tests. There's like there's no money entrance. Like, there's no money wall. You just have to study.
You just got to study. Yeah, I mean, it's so Chase said in here, he says Black Panther and Crazy Rich Asians changed things, or at least open the path. You know what? And you have a great point. Movie wise and Hollywood wise, both of those films were very financially successful and featured a cast that I think Black Panther had maybe 2 white people. I'm not even sure Crazy Rich Asians had any in their whole entire movie. Like, I haven't seen the movie. I'm going.
They did.
I don't think
they had any white people.
They didn't have any. I think Black Panther had like 2.
Yeah, one was like funny, and the other one was a villain.
Was the villain?
Yeah.
Right. The rest of them, we don't know. But it taught Hollywood that because they made money off of everybody. It wasn't just the Black crowd. And I think traditionally, and I don't know exactly as far as the Filipino cinema, as far as the box office receipts and whatnot, how that goes. But as far as the Black movie goes, it showed them that. But you know what? I think that switch and that change is something that needed to happen a long time ago. I think we knew it. We had good enough stories that everybody wanted to see, because at the end of the day, it's about a good story. It doesn't matter who's in the cast, right? because you remember when God, what was that the Chinese martial arts movie that came out in 2000 that was huge over here, and I can't remember the dang name of the movie because it had so many great stars in there. Michelle Yeoh was in that movie.
Oh my God, I don't know. Is it Crouching Tiger?
Crouching Tiger.
I did it. I did it.
Crouching Tiger. That's what I'm talking. Yes. So when Crouching Tiger came out, it made like, I don't know, $100 million, and they didn't. And that was there you go. Thank you, Halo. Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, and it makes so much money, but it's like Hollywood didn't learn from that.
No.
It took almost 20 more years for Hollywood to get it. So
that's true. Oh, dang.
Think about it.
That's bad.
Right.
That's
she
bad.
Said, Halo said, give me a cookie.
You got to look at your friend over there because I'm in California.
I can give you a cookie. She can't give you a cookie.
If I sent you a cookie on the plane, it would be so stale.
Right. It'd be bad.
The worst cookie. You'd be like, this is worse than you not giving me a cookie.
So, all right, do you mind if I flip the interview real quick on you?
Oh, okay, sure. Why not? Let's do it.
That's who I am. I do that in every single interview I have, or whatever. So, you gave me. Can I? I wish I could get my screen out for a minute. Tell these people, my friends that have joined. Why do I keep doing that? I can hit right here. My people that have joined, who you are, and what your goal is. Yeah, this is what now because you're not gonna just talk to me. And we friends, and you can't talk about yourself. Tell these people who you are.
Okay. So I'm Trixie. I'm Filipino American. I get Chinese a lot. I'm not. I'm full Filipino American. My people are from the northern mountain provinces of Luzon, so I'm Igorot. So that's specific provinces in the Philippines. My parents don't speak Tagalog. Well, no, my mom speaks Tagalog because she went to school in Manila, but they speak Ilocano and Kankanaay. There are over 100 different dialects in the Philippines, just so like to give some context.
Wow.
Where a lot of the dialects actually are basically like different languages. Like even everyone who is Igorot and in that certain mountain province, looking back at history, they didn't speak the same language. So that's kind of like an interesting of the Philippines. People think Tagalog, and that is the national language. But there are a lot of languages in the Philippines, like dialects that I think are like basically different languages because some people can't understand each other. And the place where I am, there's no Spanish influence on the language. So just like to give that perspective, that's me being Filipino. Hi.
Hi.
I am a dancer and a choreographer, and I recently got into film so I can do dance film because I was tired of waiting for people to cast me. I'm kind of a person who just like doesn't really wait for things because that's never really worked out for me. If I wait for things to happen, it just never happens for me. So I just kind of go and do what I want, which has been cool. The money thing is a struggle with that, but it's been cool.
Yeah. Well, it's the road. It's the road you're taking right now.
Yeah. It's definitely is. I am the other part of my life that's not art is definitely like mental health advocacy. I live with mental illness. I have PTSD. I have anxiety and depression. I was doing really, 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 really badly for a very long time. And then when I realized that I was actually getting better and stable for a while, I realized that I wanted to talk about it because it's so heavily stigmatized. So that's what I do. I've been working it into my art. So for the past couple years, everything that I choreograph is basically about a mental health issue, if not straight up about a mental illness. And that's me in a nutshell. And I like sci-fi. I like a lot of things. I love TV. I can watch. Oh yeah, there's a fun fact. I have a high tolerance for TV shows. I can watch a lot of crap, like a lot of crap.
Are you? So what are you currently watching right now?
What am I watching that's crap right now?
Yeah.
I don't think I'm.
Or just any.
What am I watching right now? So I just finished rewatching Charmed. Like I'm watching it, like rewatching Charmed is very interesting. Like going back to what we were talking about, like it's very evident, you know, and I was very aware because like I'm older now. So when I was watching it, it's very much like all every time they had freaking like humans, you know, like the people who weren't witches or demons or anything, every time it was like some sort of like gun thing with the cops and stuff, like guess who are the criminals? It's black people. You know, and that's just how it was for every single time,
so,
which is really interesting.
I didn't on Charmed.
And like that's how it was, and like they did have like, you know, they had like demons, but everyone was a demon, but like it was kind of like a thing that I don't think I noticed the first time around when I watched it because I was younger, and then like rewatching it now, it's like, oh, those are the things of like the 90s, you know, like coming off of the 80s and like before that.
Right.
I'm also, what else am I watching? My boyfriend and I started watching the second season of Kipo.
Oh yes.
Do you like
me
Kipo?
And my daughter watched Kipo. Kipo's dope. Yes.
Kipo is so good.
Love that show.
Kipo is so good.
Yes.
It's like
I love it. It's
you can be happy. Like there's struggle stuff, but you're not like overly depressed.
Right.
Okay.
Kipo is a wonderful show. So Cheryl asked, do you like the new Charm?
I'm trying so hard to get to the second season. I'm trying very hard. Again, like I have a high tolerance for crappy TV, and right now the new Charmed is crappy TV to me. Especially like watching the old Charmed at the same time.
Whack. It looks so whack compared to the old.
The acting is really bad. Also, they casted the three sisters without ever like screen testing them together, which is why they have no chemistry together, and it's bad.
That's terrible.
It's bad. It is terrible. It is terrible. So I'm trying really hard because, you know, there are lots of great shows where the first season was like the worst thing ever, like The Office and Parks and Rec. You're just like, I never want to watch that again. But they turned out to be like amazing shows. So I'm trying to give it. I'm trying
to give it a good chance.
I'm trying to get to the second season really hard. And then the other thing I'm watching right now is also I'm rewatching Crazy Ex-Girlfriend with one of my roommates, because that's my favorite show about mental illness because it's so real, but it's also a musical.
So you know what? Everybody's talked about that show, but I've never watched that show.
It's so good. Like it's just very like it's. I feel weird saying this. Like it's very meta. Like it's very. It just is so self-aware because it's such. It's a satire. It's a satire show. It's a satire musical about mental illness. And so like it's really.
That's what the show is about.
It is it is her being a crazy ex-girlfriend, but like it's just if you watch it, it's just very self-aware. It's so self-aware. It's ridiculous and it's amazing and it has singing and dancing, and so I really like it. And someone said, "Have you guys seen The Floor Is Lava?" The Floor Is Lava is hilarious.
You know, we haven't watched it. My daughter wants to watch, and I said, "There's a show called what? What's that called?"
It's so okay. It's like one of those things that you watch, like, because you don't want to really think, but it's super funny because people try to do this, like, the dumbest moves. You're like, why? Like anyone who's watched a show, why go on the pyramid? Why does that look like a good choice? Why? Like, even if you thought that, hey, this was something, if you looked at it and went, how am I supposed to get off? Like, you would be like, no, I'm not going to the pyramid. Like, that is so stupid. So anyone
I gotta watch it now.
They will know what I'm talking about. Don't go on the stupid pyramid. Don't go on the stupid pyramid. It's dumb.
Okay. So now I gotta watch to see people go to the stupid pyramid now. You kind of set the tone. You set the tone now. I gotta watch it. No, but we were originally talking about Kipo.
Oh, Kipo's so good.
So good. And the second season just elevated. Me and my daughter watch it. Like it's so crazy that we got shows and I can watch. She has a main, black character that she can watch. And it's a multicultural show. Like, girl, do you know how good you have it? Mm-hmm. Oh my God. But Kipo is well done. There's some Avatar vibes, and it seems like it has a mixture of different shows, successful shows. There's a little bit of Gravity Falls that's in it. It's a little bit of SpongeBob. There's like a bunch of different animated shows that are made into this, but the story is progressing in such a way that you love the characters. Like the main character. Well, I'm sorry. The what's the bug's name? Remember the bug that keeps breaking out?
No, it's not David. No, what is it? Now I have to look at it because I'm the muscle one who keeps turning into a little baby. Dave. It's Dave.
Yes.
That's what it is. I didn't have to look it up.
Dave. Yeah, Dave. Right. Yeah, so Dave. So he's voiced by a guy I really love that's on the Blackest show, Dion Cole, I think is his name. Hilarious dude, but he nails like just this character that's like, hey, you want to go over here? Look, it might be okay. I don't know. Let's go anyway and find out. And he leads them to like the most stressful situations, and I love it. So I'm glad that you love it too.
No, it's really good, and like now that you said that, like it is really cool because it's like most of the main characters are Black or at least part Black, and they're all very different people. They're super different people.
They're super different people.
They're very different people. So it is it's really cool like that we have that now. The future is lucky. The younger people are yucky.
Oh my God!
Because they don't have like what. Like I'm sure it was worse when you were young, but like even like I said, like Charmed is something I watched
from the 90s.
Yeah,
the 90s they didn't have a lot of. I mean, again, actually, who's a strong Black character in the 90s? In the Captain Planet show, what's his name? Kwame, was LeVar Burton voiced him in Captain. You remember Captain Planet?
Yes, where the Planeteers. You can pick one too.
Right. He wasn't like he was African and he was a strong character. I mean, I gotta reach, but I'm reaching, and that's who I reach for.
It's Kwame. So, yeah, you're right. You got it. It's just Kwame. Yeah.
Look, trust me, I watched damn near every episode of that show in my teens. I was watching that show because that came out, I think, in the early 90s. But Captain Planet. It was amazing. So Halo, who you should meet, and everybody that's in here, you should link up with. They're wonderful people. We are all a group of nerds that we talk about old stuff all the time, and it's great. And we try to educate and teach folks. Like the other day, or should I say, it was several months ago, right? Me and my daughter, I ran her through 2 or 3 old 80s cartoons like Ducktales.
Oh, yeah.
The original Ducktales. We watched the entire 4-season run of this show. And I'm looking at it, I'm like, man, they got some really antiquated plots in here. Because I'm watching it with old eyes. I'm like, can I sit through this again? Because the last time I sat through this, I was 11 years old. I'm way past that. Yeah. So we ran through that. We ran through Chip and Dale's Rescue Rangers, another show. We ran through Tailspin and Darkwing Duck, and those shows are another kind of group of shows that made who I am. And hold on, this one in particular. Grab this real quick. I'm getting close to the camera because I can do that.
Transformers. Yes. I watched Transformers on KQED, right? Because that's what they put it on PBS. Yeah.
So this came out in 1986, and this is the first Transformers movie. And I got it on Blu-ray because, I'm old. And this is one of the greatest movies of all time. It's wonderful and terrible. So when you get a chance, watch it. And you'll be like, what the hell were they watching in the 80s?
Is it literally just called Transformers the movie?
Look at the title. What does it say?
It says Transformers the movie.
Yes.
I'm down.
That's what they did.
Funny. I think it's going to be funny.
It is. You're going to be like, Tech watches this? God, he is so old.
There are a lot of things that aged horribly. It's fine. It's totally fine. There's so many things that I'm like, no. There are so many things that aged horribly, and you're just like.
So what cartoons did you grow up on?
I'm going to say this very quickly. I'm going to say some of them, and then I'm going to flip it back to you because we're almost at our end.
I know.
Power Rangers is not a cartoon.
It kind of is, though. It kind of is, though.
Bobby's World is the first cartoon I can really remember watching. X-Men I really loved. Rogue was my favorite character, and when they made Rogue a crap character in the movies, I was so fucking mad. I was so livid because Rogue was my favorite character. I also loved Rogue and Bandit's like love story, and I was like, well, that all went to hell now. So I was really pissed. I was really pissed. I watched Sailor Moon Obvi because it's Sailor Moon. Lots of recess, like Doug and stuff. Things on like one Saturday morning. Like I didn't have cable, but like I had stuff like that. Gargoyles, which I watched a couple episodes of Gargoyles like when quarantine started, and that's still pretty good.
It's damn good, right?
Still pretty good. Yes. That aged well.
I watched it recently.
Yeah, it's good. Also, because I watched it when I was young, I was like, oh, I didn't know that this was so violent.
Super violent.
Like, super violent and like historical and like about like basically like screwing over other countries and stuff. I was just like, I didn't know. Because I was young. So that's pretty much what I watched. I'm trying to like think of other cartoons, but
that's good. Bobby's World I watched and didn't tell nobody about because I shouldn't have been watching it at 15. I'd be damned if I wasn't watching Bobby's World because it was a great show.
Dude, at 15, I started watching the Berenstain Bears.
Hey, see, it's another We just didn't tell nobody about the shit that we watched. That we clearly watched.
I only started watching that like when I was a teenager. I was like, oh, but I like it.
Yes, it's okay because you didn't tell nobody.
Not until now that I don't care.
You're too grown. It doesn't matter anymore.
I really don't care anymore.
Doesn't matter no more. No, it's good.
Cool, like past like a long time ago.
That's right. Okay. That's right.
Okay, we're coming to our end. So one, this was great. Two, I hope you had fun flipping the script here.
I did. It's great.
I want to ask you what. Okay. I'm going to ask you like an ending question here. Also, thank you everyone for sticking around. If you're sticking around to just hear us talk about TV.
Yes. Because it's got to be fun.
25 minutes. So thank you for that. But okay. So what do you hope, this will be your last question, what do you hope TV will like look like? Like not just sci-fi, not just like cartoons, but what do you hope TV will look like in like let's do like a 20 years. Let's do a 20 years. 20 years. Because we talked about TV so much. Let's end it.
I know. We went from look, this is a world issue, but have you watched Netflix lately? No, so I think it'll all be reality TV, honestly.
Oh no.
I think.
But what do you hope?
What do I hope?
Yeah, what do you
hope? You're right. You didn't ask me what I hope. I said what I think it's gonna be. Hold on, look at my false teeth here. Anyway, no, so what I think is going to be a diverse platform where everybody has a show. And I feel like whether you like it or not, it will reflect the world as it currently is. And it's going to be less about let's tell unrealistic stories, and there'll be a place for that, but it'll be more close to heart because I hope at that time Hollywood has changed and the power players are the people of color, along with anyone else. But I would like for more diverse stories to be told, for more people to gravitate to different types of stories. So your story may be similar to mine, but it's told from a culturally different perspective. Mm-hmm. We got to the same goals in a different way. And what I feel in the future is that it's going to be that way, plus some. And I know I'm working towards it. You're working towards it, and I hope it'll be there.
Yay! I hope so too. I mean, I really hope so too. I think because of all the different streaming services, I think even because of quarantine and the fact that Hollywood has shut down has definitely opened the doors for other people to create things that will definitely have a mark later on, and hopefully that mark will transform into Hollywood. Like, people are looking for content. That's such a real thing right now.
They're looking for it.
Yeah. So I hope for the same thing. I like with what you just said, like diverse stories, and actually like actual diverse stories, like with actual like diverse people, like, oh, this is actually going back to Charmed, the new Charmed. Apparently the new Charmed, like one of its biggest critiques was it was super advertised, like super like Latinx, like very much Latinx pride. And it's super not that.
Yeah.
Like it's not that. No. It's just not. It's just not. So like that's really interesting. It's really interesting. So like I can't wait for the day to where it's just like what you said, right? Like we're gonna have we have the same stories, but it's very different, just like given our context. Like what our houses look like, what our parents' houses look like, the different like things that we eat and stuff. Like those are things that can be integrated, because that is true diversity. Like diversity isn't like we're all just different colors, but we're basically white people anyways. Like you couldn't tell the difference if you read it off the script.
Right. That's the truth. Like we're all eating hamburgers and French fries. That's how we live because we're American. And yeah, I mean that's part of an experience, but it may not be my experience. Yeah. That might be what my folks cook when I come home. That's something that's very generalized, and I think that nature is changing, which is a great thing, and it needs to happen. And I for one want them to. I want stories to come out that cause me to think completely different about everything. Yeah. I mean, we got to be challenged, man, because like I've lived long enough. Like, let's say an anime. I've lived long enough to see every single anime trope ever damn done. So there's not much that you can show me that is going to like shock me. So when I see something different, it's great. That's what I want. Show me different. Show me your life, or tell the same story in a different way, because I think they said every single story's been told at this point. But we'll see. You telling your story. I'm waiting to see your story. You need to go on and hire me, because I think you're gonna be big, and I want to have my part in there.
Oh my God. So U.N.I.F.Y. Okay.
Fight for freedom.
Thank you.
The TikTokers do that? Is that?
I don't know. I'm not cool.
They do. Yeah.
I know at some point that was a thing.
It's I'm so old. I can't even do it right. So.
So thank you for being here. Thank you. This was super fun, obviously.
Thank you.
Thank you for your insight. Thank you for being so vulnerable and truthful. Thank you for being so fun. Thank you for having us do this for like a good 2 minutes. Thank you to the audience who's been here and again has just went from super serious stuff to let's talk about TV.
I know. I can't help it. It's just who I am, man. Like we can do both, and I think people need to learn how to do both.
Yes. So thank you everyone for being here. Thank you for everyone who's going to be watching this in the future. This was super fun. This was super great. Next week I will be back with my mentor, who is my old director, Spencer Powell from Visionary Dance Theater, and then I'm also going to be joined by who's the other person joining me? By Dr. Grace Toon Clark, about the appropriation versus appreciation of hip hop, because she has a PhD in hip hop, but she's a Korean woman. So that's going to be what we're going to be talking about next week. Thank you, everyone, and we'll see you next time. I'm going to end the live show once I can find the button. You don't press anything. Don't leave me.
Let me press everything.